should leave it open.
Just hearing everyone's reminiscent of the Patriots in 01. No, it was funny. They had a kind of a mediocre start, and then that's when the legend begins. Well, I'm rooting for him.
Hey, thanks. Good. Same here. Thomas. What's up, Tyler? What's up, man? How you doing? It's inevitable we play. Every time we play.
Just looking at that, I was like, that's a good one, right? Okay, good. Yeah, we'll warm up with new ones and then we'll
Yeah, I would imagine. Women are playing on that before we warm up.
Hey fellas, I want to grab you real quick. It's a little different scoring on the men's side. It's no ad. So it's not second deuce, no ad. It's no ad. Receiver's choice. So straight up no ad. We got a new ball. Here's a new ball. So we'll switch every 7. We'll start with a new one, switch every 7. You guys know my role. I'm not going to bore you with that. Just watch your feet.
Oh, you got to spin.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Let's spin it. Yeah.
Switch aside.
How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Soon we get a 30 all no ad.
Yeah, 30 all no ad will be the next shortened format. That'd be ridiculous.
That's what trend going.
They've done it again. Johan Durant and Stephen Mitchell are the APTA national champions for the second year in a row.
There you have it, your women's APTA national champions, Florentina Harnisch and Anna Maria Zabori.
Hello and welcome to the APTA's Tour Series. We are live from the Short Hills Club in Short Hills, New Jersey, bringing you the 2022 Short Hills Invitational, sponsored by the APTA membership, our national sponsors, Viking and Paddle Pro, and local sponsors, our platinum sponsor, Core Private Wealth, gold sponsor, Maplecrest Ford Lincoln, silver sponsor, Spiro Harrison Law Firm, and bronze sponsor, Club Pilates. I'm Patty Hogan, alongside 20-year Short Hills Club pro Dave Broderick, bringing you the men's round of 16 match between Tyler Frazier and Adam Morgan and Anton Prosenko and Tomas Christian. Dave, can you introduce us to the players?
I can. Thank you, Patty. On the far side of the court, in the deuce corner, with a black paddle, white hat, and a black top, is Adam Morgan. And his partner in the edge side of the court, also with a black top and white hat, but using a white paddle, is Tyler Frazier. And taking a top with no hat, Tomas the forehand side on the near court. And the blue hat and gray top today will be Anton Prosenko. Patty, let's take a look at the draw.
All right, Dave, these guys are up in the top quarter of the draw. As you can see, the winner of this match will come out against number 2 seed, potentially Araya Parsons, if they get through their first round match. This is a loaded draw, Dave, with some of the greatest teams and individual players in the country here at Short Hills for this event. I look forward to a phenomenal day of paddle ahead of us.
No, it should be a fantastic day. The scoring for today is going to be best 2 out of 3 sets, where there will be no ad scoring. Back draw matches will be best 2 out of 3 sets, with the third set being a super tiebreaker until the finals.
Yeah, Dave, this is something to tee off our the beginning of the Short Hills Invitational. It is the 70th year this event has been held. It is the longest running event in our sports history. Dave, you ran it for 20 years as the pro here. And, you know, just think about all the people who helped pull off this event to you. You want to give me a quick shout out, the top 5 who helped you at Short Hills, Dave, run this event?
Sure, I think if you go back, way back, you have Nancy Mangan from years ago. You know, then you have Mark and Katie Bliss, Guido Graff, and I think you can't leave out Dennis Collins, who's really turned this into one of the major events year in and year out.
And currently Brian Skinner has taken the reins, and this year, Dave, we have over 472 players who played in all of these events. We'll go through some of those results later on. We'll turn to this match. Dave, who's the umpire?
It is Mike Yashimsky. He'll be our umpire today.
You'll see a lot of his legs up there on the left side of the court.
His playing partner from Fairfield, Connecticut, Anton Prosenko. To my left, from Cincinnati, Ohio, Tyler Frazier. His playing partner from Lake Bluff, Illinois, Adam Morgan. Christian Prosenko won the spin, and they will receive.
So again, Dave, quickly, on the right side of the screen, near side, in the deuce court, good look at the face of Tomas Christian, pro down in Aronimik. His partner in the ad court, serving sidearm or underarm, whatever you want to call it, Anton Prosenko. Far side deuce court, Adam Morgan and Tyler Frazier forehand serve out of the ad court. It's a Hills. I'm kind of grateful for the scoring system, so that will kind of limit the length of these matches potentially. I mean, we have so many different tournaments, and in this Grand Prix field here, this draw is just loaded. So I would anticipate most matches minimum of 2 hours, Dave.
I do. I agree. And with the weather conditions and the quality of the field, a one-day tournament could potentially go much longer if they didn't have the no ad scoring in the matches before the finals. And it'll be interesting to see if it changes any of the player strategies, because if you do get to deuce, you do only have that one sudden death opportunity.
And this is a sport, as we've seen, there's all different ways to skin the cat out here, Dave. There's different styles of play. Your brother Drew's known for one. That guy Johan's known for another. Will be interesting to see who plays like what. And I talked to the teams a tiny bit before. We'll kind of share some of those insights as this match goes on.
And that's what makes it exciting, is when you combine matches, two different styles of play, it makes it entertaining for the viewers out there watching.
So I'm going to ask you the real question. Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
I'm going to have to go with the Rams.
Who's going to win this match? What's your pick, Dave?
What's my pick?
I mean, I know you love all the players. Just give me a pick.
I think Tyler and Adam, Morgan and Frazier, I think are going to win this. And I hope Tomas is not mad at me.
Conventional wins, and you just go with the team. They're the seasoned team. They've played together for a couple of years. They're stars on the rise as a team, highlighted by their semifinal appearance last year in the Nationals, played over at Canoebrook. They went out to Durant and Mitchell there. I would say they've struggled a little bit this year, have somewhat inconsistent results for them. They had a 13 in Boston. Midwesterns, they made the finals. Detroit, they finished 5th. They lost to Rams and Wagner in 3. That was a bit of a surprise, I think. Charities, they lost in the quarters. Went out to Araya Parsons. You know, so this will be interesting. I mean, I think we're at the pivot point in the season, Dave. We've gotten through the first, the bulk of the major tournaments. It's the 4th Grand Prix. And I think really Frazier and Morgan have to set a tone in this match early for their positive outcome here, which I would expect.
Oh, they're serving.
Well, I think all the teams that are looking to win the title at the Nationals, this is the time of the year that they really want to be peaking.
Clearly, the Nationals is on everyone's radar. That's where they want to have the most success, and all these results will determine the seeds for Nationals, so every match here critical. Tyler Frazier will start serving, and Tomas Christian will be returning first from the deuce court. So right off the bat, Dave, we're thinking to ourselves, okay, what style is Tomas Christian going to bring today? Is he going to play real discipline, like we saw with Broderick? They reached the finals of Boston, played that amazing tournament, incredible 3-set match against eventual winners Durant and Mitchell. And Anton Prosenko looking to repeat on his quarterfinals, I guess last year with Max Lipperver in Nationals at Canoebrook, Dave?
Yes, and I think to your point, Frazier and Morgan want to play an up-tempo game, so I think Prosenko and Christian are going to have to slow it down. But when they get the opportunity, I think they really have to go for their, take advantage of it.
30-15.
Something to look for right there. Tyler Frazier's ability to open up the court, Dave, with a variety of overheads. He's got the roller, the slash, the cutter, the slash. He's got it all. And Adam Morgan, makes one unforced error in a typical set. So this is going to require a ton of discipline, I think, from Christian and Prosenko. And my question will be if Prosenko actually will buy into the system that Tomas Christian clearly bought into with his success with Drew in Boston.
No, I agree. And Tyler Frazier is definitely one of the most fun players on tour to watch because of all his variety and the spins and his shot making. it'll just be interesting to see if Christian and Prosenko can give him enough chances where maybe he goes for too much. Already at this point, we've seen Frazier hit 5 or 6 different types of overheads.
Well, and I think that's the difference we see, Dave, in the men's and the women's game. If you have the ability to hit a finishing shot from the net, it's key out here, especially when it's 50 degrees.
Correct.
Tyler Frazier is the director of racket sports out in Cincinnati at the Camargo Club. And Adam Morgan is the director of platform tennis at the South Barrington Club in Illinois. Anton Prosenko is currently teaching out of Roxbury, and Tomas Christian, as we mentioned, is on J.C. Cotto's staff down at Aronimink.
Interesting to see the first time we have Morgan and Frazier on the baseline, and they're going to a disciplined game plan, but there you see Tyler Frazier pressing a little bit, blitzing and trying to speed play up, and it works out for him.
A lot of the sidearm serves, Dave, or underhand serves, whatever we're going to call them. We remember well when Frazier and Morgan won that event out of Fiddler's Elbow on Pro Flight, Dave, and they're, Morgan serving at that point. He was one of the guys I thought who, I don't want to say perfected it, but he seemed the guy who was totally confident using it in play at all times. Of course,
right.
Johan came out doing it.
And I think Morgan was one of the first guys that really used it more than the overhand serve.
Now I see Morgan's changing it up. They've got some matching outfits, as you pointed out. Morgan's gone away from his usual gray sweatpants, Dave. I think he's looking to change things up and see if this can't be the pivot point for a lot of success this second half of the season.
See, really good shot there by Christian. And I think partially due to the ball just going side to side, creating a little bit of movement for the net team. But really good shot by Tomas.
And for Morgan,
They lead the first set, 1 game to love.
The reason why a lot of players in the game, Dave, have gone to the sidearm serve is because on the warmer days and sometimes with the amount of spin and kick they can put on the ball bounces up so high, it's just feeding into these return to serves. So you go sidearm, it's a lower bouncing ball, and it just makes some guys feel much more comfortable. Stephen Mitchell, case in point, coming into the net, his first volley improved dramatically when he went to the sidearm serve.
Right, because the returners now not hitting down on the ball. They're almost hitting up, so they can't hit it as hard and be as aggressive.
So it'd be interesting because Prosenko and Tomas Christian are not one of the taller teams in the guys, in the guys' field today. And the fact that Morgan, who I've seen, Frazier served mostly sidearm, go right away back to his traditional overhead serve. It's like that higher bouncing, maybe won't, be a tough ball for him to handle because of their return to serves off a little lower contact point versus Mitchell, Durant, Parsons, some of the taller guys on tour.
Patty, what do you think about the players changing strategy to where maybe they want the baseline team driving more balls in the warmer weather?
I think that you'll see a lot of cat and mouse, and people almost give someone the ball of life to get them to hit, to pull them out of if they're just going to go to a lobbing, real disciplined game like that. It's a good point, Dave.
Game Christian Prosenko. First set is tied 1-1.
See a very good drop shot there by Prosenko to end the first game, and 1-1.
Here's Adam Morgan. He'll throw himself into this sidearm serve. Dave, do you throw yourself in your sidearm serve?
I'm still working on that.
interesting. Tomas said to me and Anton said to me that they, you know, we're going to be disciplined. And I don't think they thought that Frazier Morgan would have the mentality of like slowing it down. I think they would just try to play their game, and Anton and Tomas would have to slow them down. But at the beginning here, you know, I don't think that's the case yet. Too early to tell.
And there is always the fine line of playing patiently and putting yourselves to sleep. I still think, again, when Christian and Pritsenko get the opportunity, they've got to look to hit a solid, aggressive shot.
Well, when you say putting yourself to sleep, all I'm going to comment on that, Dave, is that the only people on the planet who have potential to put themselves to sleep are the top 8 players or 10 players in the country. You know, we talk about all these different, you know, styles of play, and I just think every club level player would benefit from becoming more disciplined because they could play longer points and compete against a higher level of play. And it's only at that point can the top players choose to slow down or speed up.
Right.
I have a lot of regard, Dave, for a super disciplined approach to this game, you know, and I think that
15 love.
sometimes the difference in these matches is just being conservative at the right time,
Right.
pulling the trigger at the right time. I always feel like every set on a highly competitive match is just really going to come down to, honestly, like one moment in the set where there's a point, and it might be not anything significant, that is the difference in the set. I mean, that's the difference I see in the sport, Dave, over the 20 years of your time here at the Short Hills Club.
You know, it's definitely high-level matches come down. All matches, if you watch, you know, it usually comes down to a moment or a point here or a point there, and most of the time it is the
It's
decision
something
making.
routine.
Yep.
It could be a let court. That's the back of Tyler Frazier to the left of the screen, and that's Adam Morgan to the right. I love this team when Morgan plays to the left, Dave. Keep Morgan on top of the net. Frazier just does his thing. As, you know, as talented as, you know, considered in the top, you know, 10 players individually in this sport. And he plays with Morgan, who's just,
40-15.
I don't say underrated, but just has the tenacity, the resiliency, what he brings to the table, the discipline in his approach, totally different than, you know, the skill set that Tyler brings to the table, which makes them a really good team.
Absolutely. You see Tyler, like we talked about, Frazier has different spins, different overheads, drop shots, slash shots, everything. And Adam Morgan's just super solid over there.
So this is what, you know, I would just look for Frazier to sort of try to dictate play. He's the one who's the risk taker for their team.
Right, you see early on, he's the one blitzing, he's the one coming in. He's looking, as we said earlier, to speed up play.
So you'll see Morgan will go with like the roller overhead inside out or a push where Frazier will bring the spins on the overheads more.
Correct.
I think Tomas Christian has to love it if Morgan's hitting him push overheads. I think that would feed into Tomas's thinking about the game right now. After he played for 18 hours straight last in the Grand Prix in Boston with this super disciplined approach.
Do you think at some point in the match we'll see Frazier predominantly going over and hitting the overheads
Well,
on the
that's
left
what I
side?
said earlier, Dave. I like them. They're much stronger that way, in my opinion.
As Adam Morgan hits the nick for a winner.
As Adam Morgan hits the nick. David, always happens. It's the announcer's curse. Whatever you say, the opposite happens shortly thereafter. Yeah, so in watching their matches throughout the course of the season, I think that's their best positioning at the net. And there is a height difference between Morgan and Frazier that's significant. And, even for that reason, on this warm day, I would think people have potential to lob a little bit deeper. Having the taller guy back there maybe to handle those would be helpful for your team.
And also, like we talked about earlier, you had pointed out, Frazier has the ability to end points. If it's not a deep overhead lob, he can end the point at the net.
So I think the difference in this match, Dave, is going to be Anton Prosenko. I think I know what Christian's going to bring to the table. I know Morgan Frazier. I just don't know what Prosenko is going to do with this.
No. Love 15.
You can see that almost slow motion overhand serve, that Prosenko serve, Dave. We saw Macy Elliott win the women's nationals in Darien with that very similar serve. Just throw the toss a little bit out in front, push, get a little bit of arc on it, a little bit of loft, I should say. You know, if he feels that's what lets him get into the net, that's perfect.
And it helps if he's confident with his volleys, where he knows he just has to get the serve in.
Well, I think Prosenko has it all as a player. I think the last thing in his game that he figured out was the serve. He used to be a little vulnerable to the yips, as every paddle player has been, and so I think he now is confident he can just dump the ball in the box, and he's willing to take on anybody's drive. Especially on a warm day, Dave, he just sets his paddle, looks for that low return. If it's not there, just take it off the back screen. We're going to see a lot of balls go through today because of the warmth. A good heads-up play from Tomas Christian. He saw that Frazier was up at that net, and he was going to take a shot. Dave, we're glad to have you join the APTA live streaming announcing team. And
15,
anything
30.
you see, Dave, you can say. Dave's whispering in my ear something.
Patty, let's glad
Dave,
to be
I say
here.
you can't say it to me out loud.
30 all.
No,
Tell you on the
discretion is appreciated.
On the previous point, you saw Adam Morgan unload there on a big forehand. So, like you said, there's going to be a lot of balls, back and forth transition play. I just don't think Christian was able to get out of the way of that one.
Yeah, you could hear Morgan put a little extra into that roller.
No.
See, this is what I'm going to be
30,
curious
40.
about. If the style, you know, Prosenko's not going to get any good looks on his forehand, Dave. Morgan and Frazier are too smart, really good placement of their shots. They're not going to hit him anything to make him feel good. He's going to have to work for it. Any winner potentially that he can hit, he's going to have earned it.
Help me.
And again, I think he has to stay patient and wait for that opportunity, not try to force it.
And we talk about Frazier's ability to end points on overheads. You know, I'll be curious what Christian and Prosenko come up with, Dave, because in the early going, we haven't seen something that they're hitting that's going to create a lot of movement with Frazier Morgan. Maybe they don't want to. You know, not everybody uses every shot in every match, and maybe they figured out we got to keep it simple. Adam and Tyler ranked top 5 in the country, semifinals last year's nationals. We don't want to get them, maybe we don't want to speed them up and let them make athletic plays.
Right. Right, because that's the way they want to play, fast and athletic. So that could be a good point, a good strategy for them.
So for Christian Prosenko to hit an inordinate amount of pushes, that would serve them well. You're agreeing with the strategy, Dave?
I do. keep him in place. Don't let him move. That's how they want to play, Morgan and Frazier. I think with the weather and conditions today, another interesting stat to look at is how many times the ball hits the nick, as we saw Prosenko hit the nick again to win the point on the last one.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the few ways you can win a point,
Right.
if you aim for it and the ball, it's risky because it could come out and create the ball of life for the person, the other player, the partner. And this, I think, is, Tomas, his footwork, his discipline, his consistency out of his deuce court. I just think he's gotten so good during the course of the season that
Game, Christian Prosenko. First set is tied 2-all.
I think that he's not forcing the game. He's letting the game come to him, and he can capitalize when he gets something that he can make an athletic move on, like he just demonstrated there. And I think Prosenko hasn't shown us from that ad corner, Dave, off his backhand, that he can do that. Tomas Christian's not going to get.
Right. But I do think Tomas can create offense out of that four.
Well, they hit him, and so that's why have hit Prosenko's ad court corner. Do you think just to hit a forehand there, Dave?
A little bit. If Tomas that he has a big.
Not going to pull the. Frazier are right on top of the net, baiting someone. You'll see these guys kind of hit a ball, dump it short, welcome the shot, but also move forward to their position, build the potential drive.
A well spotted drive there by Tyler Frazier.
Our voices are starting to sound.
15-30.
Great spot off Morgan there, kind of handcuffed him, and on that.
Screenshots. Million.
Go, risk Dave and came forward, and that's how I love his play when he.
See the ability of Tyler Frazier to ball away.
So right now he's the only guy in the court who has shown that he's got the risk to go for the cut.
34.
Break point.
And
There was point.
little shot from Frazier for the cutter. I don't think short lobs are a good idea. Morgan are in their ideal setup with more left. Lob at Prosenko.
Help.
A little bit, maybe saved him on that one. Frazier.
First set, 3 games.
And there we saw Patty, our first deuce, no ad.
Little change in strategy. I mean, just force the play right at the beginning. It's a tactic that will play. I think, to pull through Morgan, get out of this, they're hoping it's going to take advantage of some shot he couldn't handle. And I think that's what makes the country, what difference than someone who has to trigger and blitz.
Right. We said that's the style Morgan and Frazier want to play. They terms. Dick play the way they're comfortable.
That lob wouldn't have reached the service line when it's
That's
10
right.
degrees. It's 50 degrees. These guys are
Possibly
going to have
tomorrow.
to, even though they're the game's best players, they're going to have to find their touch for the warm temps. They've not played in this lately.
As you can see out there, Pritsenko is down to a t-shirt and shorts. Served there by Christian.
Dave, real fast, this is a huge undertaking for the Short Hills Club under the leadership of Brian Skinner here to lead this effort, using 82 courts this weekend. Special thanks out to Blake Anderson, Dennis Collins, Derek Bowen, Christina Bowen, Jerry Brown, Diane Brown, Michael Solomon. Dave, who's this?
Germana Culligan, Crystal Skinner, Sean Rosenau.
And the SHT staff, Dave, kudos goes to
Glenn Gang, our Patty Moran, Viola,
Dave, and real fast, quick shout out, Dave, true or false? Well, not true or false. Want to go quick through to thanks for the use of their courts for this event.
Special thank you to the local clubs, Beacon Hill Club, Rackets Club of Short Hills, Orange Lawn, Springbrook Country Club, Fairmount Country Club, Clearwater Club, Minnesink, Fiddler's Elbow, Essex Hunt, Trump Bedminster, Morris County, Montclair Golf Club, Essex Fells, Echo Lake, Plainfield, Morristown Field Club, Mendham Golf and Tennis, Park Lakes, and Ridgewood Country Club.
Dave, we couldn't do it with all these clubs donating their courts, and we're back here. It's no ad scoring, so the score is dues. They're going to Pritsenko. Receiving team chooses who gets the return. What a rip from, not to Pritsenko, to Tyler Frazier. Sorry.
I go!
I love these no ad points. It definitely makes it more exciting.
And to have two in a row, it'll be interesting to see here. Serving teams won both.
Game Christian Pritsenko. The first set is tied 3-all.
Again, like you said, it changes the strategy where this match could have been 4-2 for either team at this point with the no ad scoring.
I think this is a great start for Pritsenko and Christian, Dave. I thought they had to be close in this first set to have a chance in this match, and just because it was a giant unknown, they'd never played a tournament together, and they have figured this out quickly.
Really good play there by Pritsenko, just a little too stretched out for that volley.
What should he do, Dave?
Open that paddle face up a little bit there.
Should he let the ball go through when it was out of his reach? Probably just let the ball go through and let Christian hit another lob.
And then start the point all over again.
I think that would have been the play.
Would have been
'Cause the
like
ball
that
was-
one right there. And there we see the first time the ball gets hit out of the court.
15 all.
So as we all know, the team that hit the ball out of the court loses the point.
Thank you.
Question with Morgan Fraser, like we talked about, kind of spotty results for them the last, over the course of this season. Just a little bit of inconsistency where the year, I thought they had kind of ascended in every tournament last year. So this was I was real curious how confident they were feeling here today. About their team in this and their chances in this tournament, Dave. And I mean, Prasanko and Christian, first time ever, they've got a shot. I think they're going to have to seriously adjust their thinking on where they place their lobs, Dave. I think they've got to bring Adam Morgan's overhead into this match. I don't think Prasanko can just lob the ball cross court against Tyler Frazier and get away with it.
Right, as we saw, Frazier just put away his fourth or fifth overhead.
Right, I think that was his fourth winner, Dave.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I think this is where Christian as well, this is what they need to do. Push back Morgan, involve Morgan more in the lobs, with their lobs, or go up the line to Frazier. I think anything short in the middle are way too easy for Frazier to work his magic. You can see he moved to his right, put his right leg out, and hit a little bit of a slice overhead. Back there, he hit a push because he was pushed back. He's got all the variety you have, Dave.
Right, we use all the spins, the speed, create openings.
How come he's ranked top 5 and you're not?
So I'm sitting here next to you. It's hard to win a match from the booth, but it's also easy not to lose one.
Exactly. I'm undefeated this year, Dave. This is what we're talking about. Good deep lob, push Morgan way back. And that might be a play where we might see, as it goes on, Prasanko kind of do his thing and dash up there and pull off a blitz. I think there's potential for that play here with what Morgan's going to deliver on his next overhead. Really good up the line, backhand from Tomas Christian. Super disciplined play. I think up the line, whether it's a lob or a drive, with the likes of Tyler Frazier, who's always looking middle and looking to take more shots, is a really smart play.
40-30.
I agree. I think if they're going to play from Christian up the line to Frazier, that will limit some of his options as to what he could do with those overheads.
Game Frazier Morgan, they lead the first set 4-3.
A question about Prasanko's forehand, Dave. I saw him rip one earlier, but he's had a couple where he's not hit with like a confident swing. And it's hard to be confident when Prasanko just doesn't have a lot of matches under his belt this season, Dave. And there's nothing like being in actual competition, and even the game's best need the reps of tournament play, to feel really confident.
Right, and I think if we combine again the warmer weather, he's still trying to figure out how hard can I go before I lose control of the ball.
Sure, and I think it was a decent serve up toward the middle a little bit. It pulled Prasanko out of his zone. I think he's more comfortable when a ball comes into his body a little bit. So this is Prasanko serving. Adam Morgan hitting the return. participation from Christian. He went exactly where the ball was going to bounce to, not to where the ball bounced, Dave, if that makes sense.
For Christian, you think he has a little bit more confidence and knowledge because he's played Morgan and Frazier a few times in the last couple months?
Absolutely.
Again, we see Tyler Frazier using his slash overhead to try to speed up play, draw Christian into the net, and then push the ball back behind him.
I think Tomas Christian is just confident all around, Dave. He's, you know, burst on the scene and played a lot of tournaments this year with Drew Broderick, and they've, you know, they just had a phenomenal run in Boston, reaching the finals. Took out Morgan and Frazier in the quarters of that, Dave. I think pretty handily. Just really took them apart and didn't give them anything to hit. So I think that's, to your point, I think he is confident.
The paddle world has seen Tomas Christian grow up on the paddle court in front of their eyes.
Love 40.
Just seems like he was in middle school yesterday. And here he is in the finals of the Boston Open. Again, just the dump serve in from Prasenko. Frazier didn't even bite. He just kind of hit the ball back, and Prasenko moved toward the net, as you saw. As we know, Dave, there's all different tactics, and you'll see these guys just, you know, pull out whatever they think right at that time is going to do something that can take away a strength of their opponent.
Help.
The best strategy is going to be the one that works.
Yes, Yogi Berra. What a scoop get out of that screen.
I thought that was a pretty amazing overhead there.
I mean, he just had to, the very last second, he just flicked his wrist, two hands, got that shot.
Good deep volley there to finish off the point. But again, catching Tyler Frazier looking to move in and speed up play.
Dave, we have a first set score. Anika Nicolescu won it over Alexandra and Lilich 6-4 in the women's side. Shout out to Jackie Cameron. She runs the show at all these live streamed events, all the Grand Prix. She's doing a wonderful job already this morning.
Watch out! No, good.
Yeah, the ball was good. I had not.
We see an overrule there
Frazier
by
Morgan,
Mike
they lead the first
Yashimsky.
set, 5 games to 3.
Huge overrule. Game point there. Yashimsky's one of the most respected umpires in the game, Dave, and he calls it like it is, and he's changes it. Umpire can overrule any call instantly. So Frazier Morgan, a little bit of breathing room in this first set, up 5-3. Dave, not much difference in these teams in this first set, really. And think about just the 4 or 5 cutters that Frazier's hit. I mean, there's not that much else separating in this first set.
No, each team, there's been 2 games that have gone to deuce. Each team's won one of them. You know, that last game was the first one that wasn't a tight game.
Good shot of a loose two-handed backhand from Frazier. He doesn't miss too many of those. Thanks to ENET guys, John Scott. No one appreciates a beautiful summer day like John Scott and the ENET guys.
15-30.
Great
Big
rip on the return.
Yeah, by Christian. Well spotted. And I think, Patty, here with Frazier serving at 15-30, they're up a break for Pritsenko and Christian. I think they just have to keep playing their game and not the score. They're down a break, doesn't matter. Just keep playing what's kept you in the set so far. We see another slash overhead there by Tyler Frazier.
Little talk about what to expect here and how to change it up to defend that Christian return to serve. They're going Australian. Encourage him to hit the ball up the line versus taking the rip cross court. He went at Morgan anyway.
You. 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 Let it go.
Set point.
40-30.
Frazier Morgan.
You. Hey. Got it.
Yeah, you can see Morgan. He can bring it from either side. He's got that two-handed backhand up the middle. He's got the forehand drive. He's got a weapon on both sides.
I was just thinking that they keep going to Adam Morgan's backhand sort of as a safety spot, and it's not really that safe.
Right, there aren't too many safety spots when you are Pritsenko and Christian looking at these guys, and that's what makes them such a tough out and such a talented team.
Really good move there by Pritsenko. And it's deuce. No ad scoring. This point will be for the game.
Frazier making sure he's not too far to the left on his serve. Wow, another overhead winner, and that's the difference in this first set so far. The Frazier overhead. Frazier Morgan won the first set 6-3. Dave, can we hear from our sponsor, Viking?
Viking, one ball to rule them all. One ball is consistently chosen for the sport's highest level tournaments, league play, social events, and weekend outings. Viking. For the last 25 years, we have remained the overwhelming choice. Viking, unleash the warrior in you. The official ball of the APTA, the official ball of the National Championships and President's Cup, the official ball of the Grand Prix Series.
We will be right back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel presented by ENET Live.
Done. Great job. Hey, good stuff to you. Patty, good job. Yeah, a lot of fun. You guys look great out there. How long have you been playing?
Who, me? Oh, I've been playing my whole life. How about you?
Wow, I only started playing when I retired.
Someone say retired?
looking good out there, Eli.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the APTA Tour. I'm Patty Hogan live with Dave Broderick from the Short Hills Club. This is a round of 16 men's match between Tyler Frazier and Adam Morgan on the near court, and on the far side, Tomas Christian and Anton Prasenko. Frazier Morgan won the first set 6-3.
No.
Dave, what do you think? What do you think about the second set? What do Prasenko and Morgan have? Prasenko and Christian have to do differently?
Honestly, Patty, I don't think they have to do anything different. I think they had a good game plan. They played really well, really solid in that first set. I think the difference was just Tyler Frazier's overhead. You know, he hit a few slash winners. He hit a couple of overheads into the side screen that just died. And, you know, I think for Prasenko and Christian, I don't think they have to do anything different. They just got to stay in it and not get too impatient or try to make things happen.
How many games went to no ad scoring? Final point, was it 3 or 4, Dave?
There were three no ad scoring games, and the serving team won them all.
Interesting. In the game, a lot of times the return team has had more success winning, but I think that's an interesting point with no ad scoring. Favor goes to the serving team today.
Right, when you win the spin, right, you're supposed to receive.
30 love.
Well, some people say it's better to receive, Dave. It's our recommendation in junior play. Speaking of junior play, Dave, you and I have worked together along with all our buds in Jersey here, pulling off the junior nationals for I don't know how many years, coming up on March 5th.
40
Got to be at least 2 or 3.
Shout out to all the clubs in this area, Dave, who give up their courts for the Short Hills Invitational, for all the events. The hidden secret about why the growth in New Jersey and around the country in certain areas, you know, is all the play. It's about the use of the courts and the friendliness and generosity of all these clubs to give up their courts for these great events to see the best players in the country play the sport of platform tennis. So March 5th, Junior Nationals. Sign the kids up if they're not already signed up. And Dave, back to the action here from the Short Hills Club. The 70th time the Short Hills Invitational has been held. It's the longest running sport in our country. Shout out to Brian Skinner and his amazing crew for pulling off this incredible feat of organizing all these tournaments, Dave. And real fast, we completed 4 of the tournaments here at the Short Hills Invitational yesterday, Dave. Let's give a shout out to the winners of the different events. What are the events, Dave, and who were the winners?
In the men's 95 age group plus tournament, Juan Araya and John Lubau were the winners of that event. In the women's 65 plus, the winners were Sunamal Chris and Melissa Roth out of Greenwich, Connecticut. For the women's 35 plus PTI, the winners were Michelle Margolis from the Short Hills Club and Meg Duttenhofer from Canubra Country Club.
Ooh, the locals got the win.
They did. And in the men's 60s, the winners were 2 guys that are always playing a lot of these events, especially the Short Hills Invitational, Ed Aversa and Paul Wishnoff, also out of New Jersey. So congratulations to all the winners. And there we see Tomas hits a big, Christian hits a big forehand and catches Adam Morgan with it.
Dave, true or false, you have run as many APTA tournaments as anyone in the sport. I'm going to say true.
I would have to say, if it's not true, it feels like it.
It
but
feels
yes,
like
true.
it's true, Dave. In your 20 years as pro and you're continuing out at Fiddler's Elbow, you've done a phenomenal job for our sport in hosting so many events, the willingness to answer my phone when you see it's me on player ID. I know you think twice because I'm always asking for something, and you've always come through for the APTA, for the sport. Greg Morgan, Drew Broderick. You know, the names go on and on around here with the pros who have the willingness to step up and host all these events, and kudos to you, Dave. And the hits keep coming. You are the new host of the APTA Team Nationals for Saturday and Sunday in April.
April 2nd and 3rd.
Get a group of your buds together. Here's how it works. Get a group of your buds based on your PTIs. You'll be slotted into some field of competition. Play a couple matches on Saturday. top 4 teams will battle out in the semis and finals Sunday. Fiddler's Elbow is preparing a great event. Kudos to Greg Morgan, APTA board member, who's going to lead the way. And Dave, kudos to you for taking it on with little time for planning, but that won't impact the welcome committee and the graciousness that Fiddler's Elbow plans to roll out for all the players.
No, I believe we're going to be meeting with our director of golf next week and our head executive chef next week, and we'll be ready.
In addition to Fiddlers hosting the men's teams nationals, Chicago, under the leadership of Mike Raleigh, will be hosting the women's teams nationals.
Should be a fun weekend for everyone participating.
You know, when we went back for the start of the second set, Dave, you made a great point. I didn't ignore it, but I knew I wanted to get in our few little APTA shout-outs before we kept talking about this match. That Visenko and Christian, even though they lost 6-3, really didn't have to change anything. It was just, like we said, the separation between these top 2 teams, 1 or 2 points in every set. And clearly that's all it was here.
And again, I think it was the Tyler Frazier overhead. And on the last point we saw there, Anton Prosecco hit a cut winner overhead of his own. And it'll be interesting to see if maybe he starts doing a little bit more of that.
Sure, Dave. That shot, these guys make it look easy. The reason you don't see everybody doing it, it takes a lot of confidence, timing. I mean, you've got to pick the right scenario. The players on the opposing team have to be back a little bit. You've got to sense that, you know, a really short cutter would be the thing that could win it. And to pull the trigger and all those things come together is far more difficult than you think. As you and I know, we horse around, try to hit the shot all the time. And, you know, our success rate, mine's about 18% at this point. And that's with a pickleball, Dave. I'm moving up. I'm going to work on a paddleball soon.
And again, as we talked about earlier on in the broadcast, you could see Frazier and Morgan are looking to get Frazier over on the left side, hitting all those overheads.
Yeah, this is the thing, you know, years ago in the game, you didn't see players pull off the switch to put them in, you know, better position at the net. It was something I thought about a lot early on when I was competitive, Dave, because I just knew there were some things I was good at and some things I wasn't as good at. And if you can set your team up for net coverage in a position where you can put your strengths as a player in the ideal position, that works well for your team.
Right.
Anika and Niculescu are up in their second set, 4-1 in their match against Lalic. And who's Lalic playing against tonight, Dave? Georgie. How do you say Georgie's last name? Alexander, perhaps?
Second set is tied 1-1.
Yeah, so
Playing out of Essex
Niculescu,
Hunt, New Jersey here.
Niculescu and Anika, that's an interesting match. They played Pro Flight last Friday night and went out against Lalic, who teamed up with the one and only Floor Handler. And they came out here today, Niculescu and Cruz. I mean, they got to the finals of Boston, their first event together. They are 2 of the best women in the game, and it'll be exciting to see, you know, their momentum as they build some confidence throughout today. I mean, I would expect them to be in this till potentially the end of the day.
And to your point, they're still kind of early. They haven't played a lot of events together. So their season's kind of just starting, but they're going to get better as they're on the court and as they play.
Niculescu, 3-time women's national
Yeah.
champ.
Yep.
Roxy, 3-time mixed nationals woman champ. Got to the finals in Pittsburgh with Laura Barron. I mean, they are explosive. They are as explosive as any team in the women's field. We've got 2 channels of live streaming today on YouTube. One will not have commentators, and you can go over, that's the Araya Parsons match.
Nice shot. Thanks.
And this is the main court for the streaming. at the beautiful Short Hills Club in Short Hills, New Jersey.
See
How
there-
many acres does this property sit on, Dave? Any idea? Did you work here for 20
5
years?
years.
Yeah, it's beautiful in the middle of Short Hills, a historic town in Jersey. And we've got paddle courts, tennis courts, squash courts, beautiful modern pool, all the amenities, updated dining, phenomenal bar. Truly a lifestyle unto its own when you come to the Short Hills Club, Dave. And shout out to Chris Humphrey, who's been named the newest pro, Dave. In the amazing career of Short Hills, how many pros have there been at this club?
There, I believe Chris will be the 7th that I can recall.
And who was the pro the longest?
I think Tommy Iancelli, Hank Irvine, and myself, I believe we're all here for 20 years.
It's a phenomenal, it says a lot about you guys as the pros, and it says a lot about the Short Hills Club. Congrats on that run, Dave.
30.
And I do, as we're talking about the former pros, I do have to always thank and be grateful for Hank Irvine, starting out early on. All of his words of wisdom and confidence and encouragement that he gave me. And he was always willing to answer the phone whenever I called him.
Hank's an amazing mentor to many pros in the game, including me. Well, that's the danger of that push serve, and I think that's smart
40-30.
play from Morgan just to rip it at Christian right at the net, Dave, because that thing is just sitting there. Might cause Prosenko to think about it a little bit more before he dumps it in there the
Right.
next time.
Or it may make Christian think about standing up there.
Well, I thought Christian was going outside to get, some kind of a shield.
Now that's the 3rd time they've gone straight at Christian on Prosenko's serve.
And the goal to go at Christian is just to get the ball in play and maybe hope that he volleys the ball short, that they might get an offensive look. It's not that they're trying to hit a winner necessarily. Morgan tried to hit a winner because he got the ball of life on the Prosenko serve. Frazier just hit a measured shot. Great rip from
Another
Morgan
really
from
big
that
forehand there
score.
by Adam Morgan.
Real good movement. Love the play from Christian. They covered it.
See, and there's that up and back movement that Tyler Frazier's trying to create with the overhead.
Yeah, he's got Prosenko and Christian right here, and Christian in that point chasing a little bit. And I mean, that's what he's masterful at.
And here we have it, another deuce point.
Okay. So Dave, are you betting on Prosenko Christian to win this since the servers won every one of these points?
I may take the receiver on this one.
So Christian gave him a different look, just squatted down low, had no intention of hitting a volley. He just went up there to stand there.
Right, and I think that was just to make Morgan think more than
Just
it
to
was
get the ball up the line
correct.
for Prosenko.
Maybe he thinks that Christian may poach and try to cut it off, and he goes for a bigger shot. Maybe try to get an easy winner there, or an easy mistake.
Game Frazier Morgan.
No,
They lead the second set.
Yeah, we
2
see that
games to
overhead just
1.
hung up a little bit too high.
Frazier
Yeah.
Morgan won the first.
Perfectly
6 games to
spotted,
3.
crushing shot, just caused Prosenko to flip his paddle over. Dave, I want to talk briefly. The I formation, we saw Tomas Christian get up there and just squat down. What percent of the time, in your opinion, because I have a definite answer, in your opinion, when a team shows I formation, does the person who's up there close to net actually hit the ball? I mean, is it more than 10% of the time?
No.
I see club level players try it. That's why I'm bringing it up, and they feel like they have to make a play on the ball. where I think the high level, they show it, but rarely does the person who shows the eye actually hit the next ball.
Right. And again, I think when they're doing it, it's just for a different look to change the eye of the returner and make them think they have to do more than they really have to. It'll be interesting to see what Prosenko and Christian do here. Down an early break. They weren't in this position last set, so we see Tomas Christian forcing it a little bit there, and I don't think that's in their best interest. I think they got to go back to slowing it down, waiting for their opportunities, and stick with their game plan.
Yeah, this is a dangerous time right now for Prosenko and Christian. All of a sudden, this feels huge for them to get this game.
And I think for Frazier and Morgan, especially Tyler Frazier, he wants to turn it into a runaway train at this point.
15-30.
Well, and that's the thing. You when you've got that lead and you're trying to end it, sometimes you screw it up by trying to push, go a little too fast. That again takes the discipline and wisdom to know how much to push. That's Adam Morgan serving out of Chicago.
Great hands by Prosenko there.
Yeah, he's got phenomenal hands. And he's got the goods. I mean, he can bring the offense. That wasn't their game plan early on here. But, he was my question mark. I thought his play would determine the outcome of this match.
There we see another Tyler Frazier overhead for a winner.
Prosenko made a rookie error there, Dave. Ball was coming in, he didn't know. He had to go to that side screen, let Morgan come over and trail the play. I think he's looking right into the sun as well. It didn't help.
Break point again here for Christian Prosenko.
A little fist pump from Prosenko. I like it. A little energy, Dave. His forehand return set up a little bit high because I do love his play when he follows it in. But he's going to have more success off of it, off a ball that is a dipping return of serve. Yeah, Prosenko's looking right into the sun.
Deuce.
So
The deuce point here for the game.
4 for 5 for the serving team.
Hey! You! You! Come on, Bart!
Game Frazier Morgan. They lead the second set 3-1.
Big hold there, and I think Anton Prosenko just got a little impatient on that point.
He clearly did, and he went way too far over toward that deuce side of Tomas Christian. Doesn't he know Tomas got to the finals with Drew and to stay on his own side? No, I mean, Prosenko was looking to create something, thought he had a look.
Right.
But I don't think his forehand's gotten that, has been that effective yet in this match. So I think in that moment, I don't think it was their best play.
Right. Letting it go, start and restart the point would have been better.
What are you waiting on?
30-love.
It's also interesting, Patty, Prosenko and Christian, they've had several break points in this match.
That's
they
why
just
I'm
haven't
saying,
been able to cash in.
Yep. In that first set, it really could have gone either way. The difference was a Frazier cutter overhead. Frasenko learned from that, and
40
now
love.
he's bringing that shot to the table, which is awesome. Following this match, Dave, we will have quarterfinal action from the women's side of the draw. Good cutter from
Team
Tomas
Christian
Christian.
Trotsenko. Fraser Morgan lead the second set 3-2.
For over 20 years, Paddle Pro has been recognized as an industry leader in platform tennis. The knowledge, expert advice, vast inventory, and ultimate customer service will help any player find the perfect equipment to take your game to the next level. Paddle Pro is the only website to carry all platform tennis brands. For more information, go to www.paddlepro.com.
Yeah, Dave, Bob Considine heads up Paddle Pro. He's had an incredible business for the last 20 years, and we are thrilled to have his sponsorship of the APTA to really bring lots of those Westchester League players in particular into the APTA circle so they can have PTIs and compete in all these national championships. And personally, Bob has done a phenomenal job and has helped me, and he's helped you. He's helped every pro with, you know, he's got the most amazing inventory, Dave. Platform tennis, pickle, padel, whatever you need. Shorts, t-shirts, socks, sneakers, balls. He's got it. Paddlepro.com. Boy, that wind's kicking up here in Short Hills, New Jersey, Dave.
Trees are shaking.
He's up.
Hey, I'd be shaking if I just looked up and saw Fraser. Sick hands from Tomas Christian right there.
Love 15.
And I just think for Pritsenko and Christian, whoever's not hitting the overhead, they have to be watching Tyler Frazier. He wants to blitz. He wants to speed up play. You can't call these in when your partner's about to hit the ball.
Yeah, you've got to have that awareness of where the potential threat is at all times from the other side of the net.
See,
Hey,
great
Tomas
get there.
handled it well.
Yeah, great get there. Big love 30 for Christian and Pritsenko. Not a break point, but a big point here.
It's a round of 16 match, Short Hills Invitational. Number 5 team in the country.
15-30.
Tyler Frazier and Adam Morgan serving. This is Tyler Frazier out of Cincinnati from the Camargo Club.
And again, big point, love 30. I think Christian and Pritsenko just played too loose of a point there.
Leave it right there, you know, here comes Frazier, and I love the hands that Christian and Pritsenko have. They look like they're welcoming these blitz attacks from Frazier. And they're holding their ground. They're not letting the ball go through. They're thinking they can handle those situations and come out ahead.
Once again, we see Tyler Frazier getting to the left side of the net. Left side of the court up at the net there.
Yeah, I thought I would see more spot drives from Frasenko and Christian to Adam Morgan, Dave, but I don't see that they're sticking with that. I still feel like Frazier's getting way too many looks on his overhead.
Right. And again, it's been the key to the match for Morgan and Frazier so far.
highest, best players in the game, their game is dependent upon lobbing and hitting a million overheads, Dave. These guys always get into all the points. You just never see first volley errors. They're all disciplined. Their spin serves allow them to kind of pick their path to the net, handle the volley. If they can't, they can run the ball down off the back screen. And then, you know, the points repeat themselves a lot here. And you have to have a willingness going to these matches knowing you're going to have to hit over 2,000 lobs in a match, Dave, to get a win. How many overheads?
Right, and I think Pritsenko has to lob more down the line. If Adam Morgan's not going to hit the overhead, at least get him off the court. And
well, that's what we've referred to often throughout the match. Morgan overhead does not hurt them, so they've got to take away the Frazier overhead. But it's easier said than done. It's so easy to lob, you know, for Pritsenko up the line from here, but out there handling the spin, really tough to lob well up the line.
So from love 30, we have 40-30 on a couple of questionable decisions.
Again, Dave, Frazier's checking where his right foot is. He has to stay within the boundary of the court. If you were to extend that double sideline, he has to be inside that for it to be a legal serve. Oh boy. Great speed from Tomas Christian to run that down.
Yep.
Great anticipation.
You in.
Yep, we hear them really communicating. Frazier is making his move. Dave, they listen to you.
And I think, come on! And again, though, there's the pressure that Tyler Frazier puts on you. A little dink and a blitz behind it.
4 games to 2.
Right, Pritsenko's phenomenal as a volleyer, but felt the pressure. And kind of, you know, had to maybe ease up on that volley, just hit a little softer volley, because he knew he had in front of Frazier open.
15.
How about the match Adam Morgan is playing over there, Dave? Sneaky great.
Flawless. A lot of good shots, solid shots.
How many unforced errors? I said he makes one a set.
Yeah, it's not too many more than that.
That's why at the beginning, I'll reiterate it, the play of Pritsenko to me was, you know, I thought he could help determine the outcome of this match, good or bad, his play, because I knew what Morgan would bring to the table. I knew what Frazier would bring to the table. And now I know what Christian brings to the table. Just haven't seen enough of Pritsenko this year. Yeah, I heard Anton say to Tomas in the middle of the volley, he may have tagged one, but it's hard to resist when you're on top of that net and you're so zoned into the drive to make your volley. Really hard to let it go.
Yeah. And I think back to your point about Adam Morgan's consistency, that is also what makes him a great team, because it allows Tyler Frazier to try to create, try to make things happen. Because if he misses a shot here or there, you know, he knows Adam's not going to add on to that number.
Dave, that's a great thing. You know, their error count total won't go up because of Morgan. I think that's a great thing for club level teams to think about, Dave. Both of you can't be making errors.
Correct.
You've got to decide it's one or the other. Two of you making random errors, you're going to lose the match. And I just think that's easier said than done, but you know, there's oftentimes one player has to become a little bit more disciplined, willing to be the steady, you know, setter-upper type of role, especially from the baseline.
30.
Christian's a little frustrated, got a good look on that, just missed it.
Oh, they had a good sequence of lobs there, created an opening, just a little too hard.
I was going to say, is this going to be a rip at Christian off that Pritsenko's serve, and it was.
I guess after the first two surprises, now he's ready for it.
Yep. So, real dangerous point in this match. You know, it's Frazier Morgan looking
Come on, let's go.
They're on their way here. They won the first set 6-3.
Love 40.
Didn't look like there was that much difference. Now it seems like there's a little bit of separation with these two teams.
Sorry, Anton. Sorry.
Game Fraser Morgan. They lead the second set 5-2.
So they're up 5-2 here.
Fraser
Following
Morgan
this
won the
match,
first,
we're going to have
6-3.
women's quarterfinal action. Don't know from what match yet, but I know it's going to be exciting, Dave.
But again, we're watching here towards the midpoint to the end of the second set, and you see Fraser's presence of moving forward is the difference. He's the one applying pressure. Even if he's not hitting the ball, he's just making them think and making them have to feel like they have to hit a better shot.
Yeah, and I think the difference in this match, Prusenko and Christian have not been on the court before together, so I'm not sure that there was a huge strategy that they figured out from the baseline. And you've got to put your points together. You've got to have the sequence of shots, and Fraser Morgan clearly have that as a team. And just like the point building from Prusenko and Christian, I've just not seen enough of them being on the same page, Dave, to actually break down Fraser and Morgan.
Because I don't think they've broken serve once yet. And they've had opportunities.
And that's an amazing stat in itself, is that the 50-degree weather, Dave, because the sport in the last couple of years, we've seen advantage going to the return team at the top level, but quite the contrary today.
15-all.
Do I have to say, and there was another overhead winner by Tyler Fraser?
No, what number, Dave?
Has
8?
to be close to 15.
15? No, he's been the difference in the match with his offensive,
15-30.
The cutter, the slice, the
I'll be
smash.
here. Yeah. I got it. You.
And I think at the end of the day, I don't even think it's whether Christian and Prusenko started playing, their level dropped. I just think Tyler Fraser's overheads got better.
30-all.
Yeah,
I'm doing that.
I mean, I think they're elevating a little bit here, and there are a few more errors sneaking in to Christian and Prusenko's game over there. But again, you're right. It's all about the pressure that they're feeling from Tyler Fraser out of that ad court. And of course, that's dependent upon Adam Morgan, who sets it all up out of that deuce court for Fraser out of the ad court.
Adam sets
30,
up
40.
Tyler to give him that room to roam.
That's a good way to say it, Dave. Room to roam. I love it.
I'll be here.
Yeah, and Prusenko did a great job keeping that ball low, and just too tough a shot for Fraser to pick up.
Game Christian Prusenko. Fraser Morgan lead 5-3, second set.
So I think it's 4-2, advantage Fraser Morgan, and no ad point games, Dave. That's the second one Christian and Prusenko have won.
And that was the first break of serve.
Love 15.
First break of serve at 5-2 to make it 5-3 here, second set. Tomas Christian serving. Tyler Fraser hitting the return.
15-all.
Hey!
Again, I think Tyler Fraser is just hitting too many overheads for Christian and Prusenko. I think for Morgan and Fraser, they're happy with that. But I think Anton Prusenko's got to lob a few more balls down the line, try to get Adam Morgan to hit him, or at least get him off the court, as we see there.
I mean, and that's
30-15.
you said it's harder than it looks to get that lob up the line, but clearly as the first one in that sequence, Prasenko had to throw up a lot of lobs to get one to that spot. That presented much more difficulty for the team of Morgan and Frazier.
And again, up 30-15, they throw in a fault. Adam Morgan hits a little bit of a...
Crushed his forehand. I mean, it went through.
Gets the drive through.
Yeah.
And now here's Tyler Frazier just carving the ball up with his spins on his overhead. Great gets out there by Anton Prasenko just to stay in the point.
Yeah, like I just think right there, Anton just pushes the ball to Tyler. I don't think that serves any purpose. I don't think it helps their team.
No, because I think every time Tyler goes to swing, Prasenko and Christian, there's pressure on them.
Maturity from Frazier, just ignore Prasenko. He wasn't going to take a shot at him. He's got regard for, you know, the quickness, the hands that Prasenko has, and he just kept that point going, hitting it to Tomas Christian in the deuce court.
Is
that Christian who said every ball, Dave?
I believe
Tell
so.
whose voice it was. Beautiful. Little ball dipping down the line. Of course, by Frazier effortlessly. Ah, great spot from Prasenko right there.
40-30.
And it was interesting because that was the first aggressive overhead that Frazier hit in a while during that point. And I don't know if he was in the best position, as we can see from the result.
Because Prasenko got a ball that he could take a huge rip on. Really good spot right there. Great movement by Prasenko, and Frazier just able to avoid him.
Stay over there.
You can hear the players are all
I guess whispering's
effectively
no longer.
communicating with each other.
Come on, good ball.
Hey, Morgan with the overhead.
Into the nick
from
again.
Prasenko to set up our first match point. Yeah, you can see Frazier just loves, it's almost like he's antsy to win the point. He's doing a lot of work over there in that ad court.
I think that's been another key factor. The two-handed backhand of Adam Morgan. He's applied a lot of pressure. Where it's not a safety spot where they could just dump the ball there and start the point over again. He's keeping him honest.
Yeah, when you hit all those pushes, you've got to get the ball deep enough to make sure you're not creating an offensive opportunity. That's the danger of hitting that push type of shot.
I go.
Frazier gave up a forehand right there to throw another ball up over Christian. Real discipline play.
You're watching during this point as we go on and on. Adam Morgan's really setting it up with that cross-court lob. And he's looking for this backhand to go back down the line.
You're right, Dave. He's moving the pieces. He's got the sequence of shots that he's repeating over and over here. And from the deuce court, it's that lob cross court. Kind of can open up the down, the up the line, ground stroke to follow.
And I think Morgan, every time he has Prashenko moving to the left of the screen, he's looking for that backhand to drive straight ahead.
And he's not going cross court, Dave, because he knows the other team is ready for that.
Right.
Where by going straight ahead, he's got the potential of making the guy who just hit the overhead now have to move back to hit the volley. Over the course of a match, that's how you just wind down players. You just wear them down.
And when he's going to hit it, he's not going for a winner. He's just looking to make Prashenko hit another volley on the move. There it is again.
I got it. I go.
Almost vacation there. They both swung on that ball, Dave.
It's interesting that we're in our 18th game, and that's really was the first sign of confusion.
Only miscommunication.
Right, with a newer team.
But this match could end the way it's kind of started with Frazier over there. Thinking about this point, thinking about the different options on his overheads. Adam hit that roller that forced Prashenko to make an error a couple points ago, and it looks like they may be setting up that play again. Here we go.
It's interesting that now all of a sudden on match point there.
Well, Adam
purposely
did win an easy point off of Prashenko in that corner right here on this type of a shot.
He's up. Play.
Wow. What scrambling ability. Wow. Great hands from Christian. That was
Where
like
was
he had
that
a
volley
magic
from?
wand.
The parking lot?
Magic wand volley. Not magic wand, magic wand.
Although he is magical.
Although the wand is magic. Magical. What a great match point here.
Patty, I've been thinking this for about 5 minutes that this match point could be won on a Morgan backhand.
I go.
From the net, Dave?
Well, I don't think it's going to happen from the net now.
I think the odds go way down.
And on this point, it just looks like Morgan Frazier, the plan when they've gotten to the net is just aim for the nick, aim for the nick. I think Tyler's even given up a little bit of his spin.
Me.
Great lob there. Good coverage here by Tomas Christian.
Match ended in a real good way for our tournament number 3 seeds, Tyler Frazier, Adam Morgan. They won this 6-3, 6-3. Dave, thanks for joining us in the booth. That's a wrap from the men's Short Hills round of 16 match. Next up at 10:30 or soon thereafter will be the women's quarterfinal. It won't be at 10:30, but